What's going on, everyone? IVG here from my CPA Week 2 post-commentary match against Tez. If you have not seen the team builder, go check that out. It shows all his Pokemon and what I had brought to this battle and the sets that were specifically made. Um, what I expected him to bring, which I did not explain in the team builder, I expected him to bring Magearna, Megalopony, Haxorus, Mandibuzz, Necrozma, and Vaporeon. And he ends up not bringing the Haxorus, which I was super thankful for, but sort of upset because it sort of defeated the purpose of the Sylveon set. So Sylveon could be easily like sacked off because it's made specifically for the Haxorus, and I had no problems with um, dealing with that offensive threat. He ends up not bringing Mandibuzz, decides to bring Crawdon over it, which I was surprised. And that's pretty much it for his team. Going into this match, actually, while I was playing the first turn a little bit, I decided to lead off with my Incineroar, I believe. No, I led off with my Silvally Poison because it dealt so well with the offensive pressure. Because it was Mega Lopunny, Necrozma, or Magearna, I'd be able to parting shot out and bring in a Pokemon that would better take it. If it was Ferrothorn, I'd be able to Flamethrower it. If it was Vaporeon or Crawdon, I'd be able to... I think I said that right. Vaporeon or Crawdon, I'd be able to Thunderbolt or have that initial switch into Sylveon to better take it on. But anyways, let's get into battle. Like I said before, I swapped into Silvally. I led off with Silvally to get a real base off what he wanted to lead with, and he ends up being Ferrothorn in. So right here, I just go for the Flamethrower, which does some damage, negating the Aqua Berry because it weakened the Flamethrowers. So the attack really would have done a whole lot, probably over half. But this turn he decides to get up Spikes, or Self-Destruct I should say. But this turn I make a good prediction and decided to go into Rotom Wash since I knew he did not want to take another Flamethrower. So I had Parting Shot on the Vaporeon, and I bring in my Rotom. So he feels real threatened right here. So we end up right here just setting up a Wish after I go for my Defog just to get some HP, hopefully on that Ferrothorn. But right here I make a good play and Volt Switch into Celebi since I would have thought he would switch, but he really had no point into switching into Ferrothorn because if I would have Volt Switched, I could run something else. So I decided to stay in since I felt like this was the best Pokemon variant of Vaporeon. So I made an offensive pressured play and brought in Celebi, which better takes on Vaporeon than what Rotom would have. So right here he goes for the Toxic, which I was really surprised because usually Vaporeon would be a Cleric and not have any sort of utility to whittle down a Pokemon and only have like Scald Burns as the only status move that I could deal with. But it was still okay to deal with. So he gets the Wish off right here. Right here, I knew he did not want to stay in. So right here, as he swaps into Ferrothorn, I decided to get out my Stealth Rocks, which really put me on a good offensive lead pressured. And right here, after I take the poison damage, I go into Incineroar since the better takes on Ferrothorn. He decides to go for a Gyro Ball. I probably expected him to go for Stealth Rocks again to get those hazards back up, but he ends up going for the Gyro Ball. And right here, I make a good play since he wanted to have something to take on Incineroar a whole lot better. I decided to go for the knockoff, getting rid of the Vaporeon's leftovers and willing it down more. He decides to go for Wish, so I get a free Thunder Punch off on this thing. I knew he would not have a switch for this, so he just had to Wish his way back up. And he decides to Protect, so I go into Celebi to still have that offensive momentum on my side of the field. So right here, he has a good swap into Magearna that I honestly had no prep against for. So I decided to go for the Giga Drain, not knowing that he couldn't make that play. And I'm a little bit on the bad side, but I'm able to deal with it and have Incineroar brought in. And he ends up showing Trick Room, which I was super surprised that he brought. And he makes an aggressive play and decides to bring in Crawdon. And I was like, oh shoot, because Flare Blitz would have done like at least half, but this still meant that the Crawdon is still alive and could still do damage to me. So that's his Flare Blitz, which it does half due to a crit. So it does have some bulkiness to the Crawdon because it would probably take in like 60 if it wasn't HP invested. So I knew this Crawdon was slow, and I panicked because I did not know what I should have brought in. And so I ended up sacking the Incineroar, which was a extremely bad play on my part because I lost my counter to Necrozma and Incineroar and also to Ferrothorn because Incineroar checks so much of his team real good. And I made a terrible play by sacking it off. And he gets to crab him off, but he reveals his Life Orb. So right here I'm able to bring in Silvally since it can live a hit from the Crab Hammer or knockoff, whichever he decides to go for it, and at least take it out. But he decides to make a switch into Necrozma, which is really good on his part. So he takes the Thunderbolt. I get a crit again, which really doesn't matter, but I decided to bring Sylveon since it did have some Spadef bulk. And he ends up setting Calm Mind, so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is super bad, and I wish I had Incineroar to help me. And he ends up setting Calm Mind again. I just go for Hyper Voice, and it does not a lot, so this is a really bad spot that I'm in. And he ends up showing the Photon Geyser, and he ends up getting a crit. And with the Spadef I had, I'm able to take a +2 Photon Geyser, and I ended up not getting the lucky end of it because he ended up critting me, and the Sylveon ends up going down. So I do lose another Pokemon to bad luck. And I decided to bring in my Diggersby, and I make a sort of... I know what I wanted to do. Like you see right here, I go for the Agility. I expected him to swap out because he would not want to see Diggersby in front of the screen. He probably would expect it to be like to hit it instantly, so he probably would have brought like Ferrothorn to better take it. So I go for the Agility right here, and he ends up staying in and goes for the Trick Room that he shows up. So he's able to outspeed the rest of my Pokemon because in Trick Room, and I end up still making bad plays because of that, and I'm in a bad spot. So I decided to sack off my Silvally since it had no important use for the rest of this battle. And I decided to bring in my Celebi because it was the last thing that could take a Photon Geyser from what his health was. Here's sending Calm Mind, so he has no way to recover health. I just get a Giga Drain off. I'm here to get some chip damage. I'm able to live the Photon Geyser and get one more Giga Drain off, but it still does not help me with having Pokemon accessibility, but is able to stall out the Trick Room for that this Necrozma cannot finish out the rest of my team. So like I said, Trick Room ends right here, and I just go into Diggersby just so I can finish off the Necrozma. And the other going to Ferrothorn, but I make a good play right here and go for the Fire Punch to get rid of the Ferrothorn that was incoming that should have played on early on in the match, but it ended up not happening, and I lost 2 more Pokemon because of it, sadly. But I did make a good play, so at least I do not get 6-0 right here. Because in Lopunny, so my initial switch in here is Rotom because it has some defensive bulk, and to take the Fake Out. So right here, I just go for the Will-O-Wisp, I believe, right here, to better take on the Vaporeon. But I make a... No, he hits a Vaporeon. And right here, this next play, what plays out is I needed to get a good switch into Diggersby. And I think I outspeed with Rotom right here. So I had to Volt Switch on this Diggersby, hoping that he misses a Toxic right here. And that the next turn that I do not get burned by Scald. Because with the HB investment I have, surprisingly, and the fact that he has no Spadef or special attack investments, I know I can live with Scald. But it's the fact that if it burns, then I do not clean up with Diggersby. So right here, I go for the Volt Switch on the Vaporeon, so it takes health. I'm hoping he wished here because it would help me out a whole lot. But he ends up going for the Toxic right here. But luckily, he misses, so I'm still having that sort of luck with Diggersby. But this next turn right here, I just go for the Agility, hoping and praying that he does not have that move or doesn't get a Scald Burn, because it better helps me with the rest of the Pokemon. Regardless if Chronon had Aqua Jet, because it would have been chipped down to where Rotom can finish it. And I end up setting Agility, and he goes for the Scald right here, and just wait for it. Live the Scald, but end up getting burned. So I lose my Diggersby after this turn. So I decided just to go for the ground EMZ, Tectonic Rage, just to get rid of Pokemon no matter what he swapped into. Would have taken a lot of damage regardless of who came in. So I end up having Rotom left off, and he has the Magearna, brought it in, and because of the investment of Spadef that I have in Rotom, I'm able to take the Thunderbolt. Of course, cannot get paralyzed, so after these few turns, I'm able to take out the Magearna by landing a few Hydro Pumps and hitting a Volt Switch. He ended up going for the Z Flash Cannon, maybe Corkscrew Crash, which does nothing because of my Spadef bulk, and I'm able to finish off with the Volt Switch on the Magearna. So I'm negating the differential at the end of this battle. And it brings in Lopunny right here. So I'm hoping and praying that he misses his high jump kick after he goes for the fake out, because it's the only way that I'm able to win, or at least have that chance of winning. And so he goes for the high jump kick and misses, and I'm super surprised. But unfortunately, I wanted to get the Will-O-Wisp off, and I do not land the Will-O-Wisp because it would help with his Lopunny. But in his next turn, he ended up stacking off his Lopunny with the Healing Wish, and so the next turn was not really necessary. And next he brings in Necrozma just to get that HP investment. I hope that Stealthrox came in before the Healing Wish does, but unfortunately it does not. I get this Will-O-Wisp off on the Necrozma just for chip damage. I end up going for the Calm Mind to help itself with it. And if he ends up setting up right here and I get a crit Hydro Pump, I do beat this Necrozma and beat the Crawdon, but unfortunately I missed my Hydro Pump. Regardless of crit or not, I missed it, and he ends up finishing off Rotom with the Photon Geyser. So I do end up losing this match 2-0, making my differential 1-1 with a +0. So I'm back to square one again, unfortunately. But do not worry, I will hopefully bring myself back up to the top and be available to play in playoffs. But that's another ladder we have to climb later on in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for my terrible plays. I'm looking at it now, and I made so much plays that could have been changed and helped out within the battle, but also some of it could have done pretty bad luck, but I'm not going to have Johns against it. But anyways, I hope you enjoy, and we'll see y'all in week 3. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.